next up, we have a criminal justice and voting advocate. She is the author of a book coming out this August called Smoke But No Fire, Convicting the Innocent of Crimes That Never Happened. I would love to welcome to the stage Jessica Henry.
It's 2020. In 1920, just 100 years ago, the 19th Amendment was ratified, and women of the day finally won the right to vote. The right to vote is one we hold dear. The right to vote means everything for so many of us. How many of you, like me, are counting down the days until we can vote for the next President of the United States? But what you may not realize is that millions of people in the United States will be turned away from the polls because of felony convictions. People like Crystal Mason. You may have heard her story. She's an African-American woman who lives in Texas. She was incarcerated in federal prison for tax fraud, served 3 years, and in 2016, when she was released, she reconnected with her kids, she got a job, and in November, she went to the polls to cast her vote for what she hoped would be the first woman president of the United States. Instead, she was arrested for illegally voting because Crystal was on felony supervision. She was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison for trying to vote. 5 years in prison. Crystal Mason's conviction and sentence are currently being appealed, but there are millions of people, just like Crystal Mason, who are second-class citizens because they cannot vote. And that's what I'm here to talk with you about. I'm here to talk with you about felony disenfranchisement. My name is Jessica Henry. I'm a former public defender. I'm a professor, a writer, and a criminal justice activist, and I am so excited and honored to be here at the Women's March in 2020. Here's how felony disenfranchisement works. All but 2 states, Vermont and Maine, do not allow people to vote if they're in prison. But there are 2.3 million people in America who are incarcerated. We are the world's largest jailer. And our mass incarceration policies and our war on drugs, they're racist and they're wrong. They disproportionately impact poor people. They disproportionately impact people of color. And today, they are impacting women more than ever before. The rate of incarceration for women has increased by 700% since 1980. These policies of exclusion from voting are no accident. If you go back in history, if you go in the South and take a look at the Reconstruction era, those laws were designed to exclude black people from voting, and it's still having that effect today. 1 in every 13 black adults is disenfranchised because of felony convictions. In some states, like Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and until very recently, Florida, 1 in 5 blacks could not vote. And it's not just people in prison who can't vote. In some states, people with a felony conviction who are on parole or probation also can't vote. And in some states, you are permanently, as in forever, prevented from voting if you have a felony conviction, no matter what you do. Even though you've served your time, even though you've paid your debt to society, even though you have jobs and pay taxes, even though that means taxation without representation, you can't vote. But listen, there's no reason to link criminal history with the right to vote. And it matters. It matters especially in this election year. Can you imagine if women, look to your right, look to your left, if we, smart, motivated, fired up, organized women were told we couldn't vote because of our status as women? It would matter a lot. Just as felony disenfranchisement matters. Elections today are won and lost at the margins. Every vote counts. Susan B. Anthony and the women who fought for our right to vote knew just how important the right to vote is for our citizenry, for our democracy. We owe it to our sisters who fought for our right to vote to pay it forward. We owe it to Crystal Mason, who is facing 5 years for trying to vote. Join me in fighting for fighting for voting rights for people with felony convictions. Join me in fighting against the injustices of our criminal justice system. I've posted action items, if you're interested, that you can take today at www.jessicahenryjustice.com, Jessica Henry, Henry justice.com, to let you help fight felony disenfranchise and do things for criminal justice reform. Let's keep America safe and keep more Americans free while protecting the right to vote for all. Thank you.